The artist said they were just referencing, and the artist that was being referenced feels like too many boundaries have been crossed. So what exactly happened in this situation? Let's delve into it. And again, before we get started, please don't send hate to any parties involved. This kicks off with a post on Threads by somebody named Northheim, if I'm reading that right. They say, "Hey guys, let me show you two artworks and you tell me if you see any resemblance. On the left is my art that was commissioned last year. On the right is Bianca's art that was commissioned for El Real month this year and posted 2 days ago as of the time of writing this. A big enough portion of Azriel and Elaine's bodies was traced and lifted off my artwork that I'm definitely not okay with. Comparison videos below." Also, if you don't know Azriel and Elaine, from my understanding, this is from Sarah J. Maas's series, The Throne of Glass, which, actually, I haven't gotten to this part yet, so I didn't know that they got together. But the left, obviously, we have North's artwork. This is gorgeous, really pretty. Here we have Azriel holding Elaine, and they're kind of walking down an encampment of some sorts. Again, didn't finish the series, so don't know what happens. Here we have the rendition, where we have Azriel holding Elaine, but now they're flying through the skies, and there's somebody else in between, and I don't know who this person is. So North adds, "I can only speculate the colors were color picked off my artwork as well, since they are so identical in those areas. Yes, the entire artwork is not an exact one-to-one copy, but I can't pretend it's not lifted off mine." And it's frustrating because, well, what can I do? What can we do as artists when somebody plagiarizes our work? Suck it up, I suppose. Vent about it online and then carry on. So here is a overlay video where you can see that the arms line up. Like the circled part here of Azriel's arm for North's piece lines up exactly actually with Bianca's piece. Bianca just has the hand hidden in a cape of some sort, so you can't see the rest of the hand. But the placement of the forearm is exactly one-to-one. The size, the shape, the everything, which is kind of wild. You know, being a little nosy, I went and opened this up in Photoshop just to snoop side by side. Again, on the right, we have Bianca's work. If I use the color picker tool and pick off of the art pieces, the colors are really similar. Here we have, kind of the highlight area of the dress. Do you see here in my color rectangle? It's not a circle, it's a color rectangle. The color barely moved. It's the exact same hue. The brightness and stuff is just a little different. Probably because, you select a color and then airbrush a streak. And then so if there's a base color below it, sometimes it fiddles with the color a little bit. But maybe it's a one-off, right? Let's check the top of the foot. Oh, let's look at that. This differs a little bit, but the foot has some shading. So let me make sure I'm selecting the right part. Let's select a highlight. Oh, the hue is the same again. All right, let's check this shadow part of the dress. This color selector of the hue never moved. Okay, maybe a teeny bit, right? Let's check the hand here. Hand or the face. Again, do you see that? I selected off of both images and the hue didn't move. One time, two times, okay, possibly, right? But the darkest part of the hair, a hair highlight, shadow of the dress, the ambient lighting on the bottom of the dress, that barely moved again. The blue gemstone, let's check the blue part. Okay, this is the shadow part of the blue. I don't know, what are the odds that so much of the color is so similar? That's the white of the dress at the bottom here. How are so many colors so similar? I don't know. That to me is already a bit suspicious. Look, again, I selected 2 different highlights on the leg. Boom. Why is it almost the same color again? So the colors are already very, very, very suspiciously similar to where cannot say with confidence that it was not color picked. But then we get to the bottom, okay? The side by side of the rendering, okay? On the left, we have North's work. On the right, we have Bianca's work. And the rendering looks really similar in terms of just the highlights, the shadows, and the ambient light color and where the ambient light is placed. Because again, let me remind you, right? This piece drawn by North, they are drawn in a completely blue environment. Whereas this piece drawn by Bianca, the sky is blue and purple and pink and orange. So if you are drawing environmental lighting, the environmental lighting will be different because they're in different environments, right? So that would be something that would be kept into account. The environmental lighting under the wings, maybe it's blue because he's on the higher part of the sky. But on the bottom here, right, this foot of Elaine's is cast in a blue shadow because they're in a blue environment. This foot also has a blue shadow on Bianca's piece, except the part of where her foot is where there's a lot of orangey light from the sky. So if you're putting ambient lighting here, wouldn't the foot be cast in an orange glow? There is no blue here to cast this blue ambient light. Or the underside of the dress would be completely orange here, right? Same for this person. But the rendering is 1-to-1. It's literally as if they looked at the piece made by North and was like, yeah, I'm gonna do exactly what they did for their rendering. Like the shadow placement is the same. The highlight on the shoulder, exactly the same. The underlight also being blue, exactly the same. The bottom half of the face being cast in kind of like orangey glow, also the same. Here we have the two hands, also looking really similar. This is the other foot, and this is what I was talking about again, right? Where North drew the foot with like a really purple ambient light on the bottom half of the foot here, and then on the back of the heel, there's a bit of a glow. All of that lighting is also present in this exact foot too. Same with the rendering style. And then here we have the two arms, and the two arms look identical. Except obviously one was drawn by North and one was drawn by the other person. Like the highlight placement is literally the same too for the gems. So North continues, in any case, I definitely don't allow my art in a photo bash manner like that, especially considering that this was paid work. Someone commissioned the original from me and another person commissioned Bianca and got a replica of my art with some additional elements. I know this is a popular scene, but I've seen so many different interpretations of it. It costs nothing to be original, especially when you're getting paid for it. And here we have another video from North where you can kind of see the overlap between pieces, and as they turn it down, a lot of elements are really similar. It kind of looks like they cut out the wings and then maybe the head. Oh no, like part of the back, I think. Wow, wait, that's actually wild. You know, oh my God, look at that. You know what's crazy is that like when they were sliding the opacity back and forth, I couldn't tell when it changed. I had to click back in to be like, wait, when did it actually swap to the other artwork? Like that's actually how similar it looks. Like I only noticed when they did the toggle. And then I was like, wait, there actually was like part of the head that was also used in this overlay that's being shown. Like it's that similar. Nah. North continues, yesterday I posted about how taking inspiration from fellow artists is completely fine. Hell, even tracing artworks is fine if you're doing it privately and to learn, not to post and claim it as your own. Also, adding in, I think the other artwork was also a commission, which makes it even more worse because you got paid for this. So North continues, my point is there's a line between taking inspiration and stealing. Yes, we don't own a composition or a pose or the colors used, but when all of those elements are lifted, I feel like I have the right to be upset about it personally. So here we have another overlap. Yeah, that's way too similar, man. Like look at the head placement, everything. North adds, especially since this was done without my permission and knowledge. I was so frustrated at first, and now I'm just low-key sad. And if you see this and feel as outraged as I did, please don't harass anyone. Not the commissioners, though I'm making sure to keep them anonymous. Not the artist who traced. My only intention with this thread is to post to buyers beware. Oh, and somebody reached out to me and let me know about this yesterday. Thank you again, and I appreciate it so much. Dude, I feel so bad for the artist because like, imagine you spent all this time doing this commission, you were so satisfied with it, you're like, man, I killed it. I did a great job. And then you see another commission and it's like, oh, why does this look a lot like my commission? But like posed a little differently. So the artist came in and commented, hello, I'm the artist who created the second piece. I just want to say that I wasn't aware the original artwork was done by another artist. The person who commissioned the work only showed me the references they wanted, along with other images. I didn't draw over their artwork. I used it as a reference because the client gave it to me and said they wanted them in that pose. If I had known the artwork belonged to somebody else, I wouldn't have drawn them in that pose, especially since I'm also an artist and wouldn't want my drawing used as a reference without credit. I apologize for that. I'm trying to give some benefit of doubt here, and some of you guys hate me when I do this, but like maybe this is the first time the artist has done a commission, so they don't really know like the ethics of what is allowed or what isn't allowed for a commission. But most of the time, I would assume, right? I've done some commissions in the past when somebody gives you a reference, they want you to take a look at it and interpret it in your own eyes as the artist, not take a look at it and draw them in literally the exact same pose. Exactly. One to one. You know, the concept of, oh, I want you to draw Asriel holding Elaine and I really like the way her knees are bent over him like this. You know, you can take that and change the angle, maybe to do a higher, you know, top down look so it's a little bit more dynamic or whatever, you know, so it's not literally exactly that pose. I want to give the benefit of doubt, but it's a little bit hard to fully believe this simply because like a lot of stuff lines up a little bit too much. You must have at least traced some elements of the work because the face lines up so closely. The Asriel's other arm lines up so closely and the colors are so similar when you use the color selector tool that like some corners might have been cut a little bit here that maybe you aren't fully disclosing. And a commenter says, as an artist yourself, where did you think the original artwork came from, if not from another artist? Did you think it was conjured out of thin air by a magical creature? That it was AI generated? You said you thought it was promo material, but promo material is created by another human being. If your client demands you copy the reference material exactly, it's your responsibility to make sure they have the rights to use the image that way, because otherwise you're violating somebody else's IP, and that is legally theft. And Bianca says, yes, you're completely right. It was my mistake, and I understand that and regret not having taken the initiative to question my client. I've already sent an apology to the artist, and to clarify, I did not post the drawing anywhere. My client posted on her profile and tagged me. Another person said, all I see is zero accountability. You didn't use it as a reference, you clearly traced parts of it, and North's post has irrefutable proof. And the artist responds, as I said, I used the pose and colors as a reference because the client asked me to. Initially, I made several sketches that came out quite different from the original artwork, but she wanted it to look similar to this, and I didn't know she was going to post it or anything like that. I thought it was just for her. But I understand that situation because I already passed for this too. And the commenter kind of harped a little bit more about it, and Bianca says, yes, you're right. I don't receive many commissions, and they're all very cheap, and it's how I help my mother financially. So I was hesitant to say I couldn't do something similar and lose the commission, but that's no excuse. Normally, in my art, I use references of poses from real people. I rarely use references from already made drawing, and when I do, I give credit. It really wasn't my intention to cause this. And North writes, limiting replies because things are getting a little crazy here. The artist has apologized, and quite literally all I can do is move on and hope it doesn't happen again. So after the situation, I'm curious about your thoughts. Again, please respect the original artist. Don't go and send hate dogpiling on the other person. That is not cool. Don't do that. I'm curious about your thoughts on this entire situation, right? I think if you are an artist and somebody comes to you, and if it is true and it played out the way the artist said, right? They did their due diligence, they tried making other sketches, and the client is like, no, I want you to copy this drawing. You're kind of like, well, right? I would hope that you would say, hey man, as an artist with morals, I'm not gonna do that. Yay. But on the other hand, if you are financially strapped and you really need the money, would you think that makes it okay? That's a hard situation because it gets really messy, right? And if this person was truly in a situation where they really desperately needed the money from the commission and the client was simply refusing any other variation except one that looks suspiciously similar to the original artwork, I'm not saying that makes it okay by any means because it doesn't, but it's all a big gray area at the end of the day. The main person affected is the original artist who had their work ripped without their knowledge whatsoever. That absolutely sucks. And please show them all the love and support. And for the client as well, if you want this art piece, but with your, I don't know, add-ons, go commission the original artist, hey, if you love this piece so much, why didn't you just commission North? Who the person who made the original artwork, you could have that artist do it for you. So then you're not crossing any ethical boundaries by making other people copy work. Again, the artist should have said no. This is all messy all around. And again, please support the original artist. And with that, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.